Joining us now, Dr. Anne Ramon, epidemiologist, professor of epidemiology at UCLA Fielding School of Public Health and director of the Center for Global and Immigrant Health, and Philip Bump, Washington Post national correspondent. So Dr. Ramon, according to NPR, quote, the model offers 4 scenarios for its projections, varying based on what percent of the population gets vaccinated and how quickly the Delta variant spreads. Each scenario also includes a range of how bad things could get. The very worst end of the range for the most likely scenario shows about 240,000 people getting infected and 4,000 people dying each day at the October peak, which would be almost as bad as last winter. Help us, please, put these new predictions into perspective for us. Daily deaths in this country are already at 237, and the CDC reported more than 1,500 in just the last week. Speak to the importance of vaccines and how it could improve where we are in October.
Well, thank you for having me. And here's the thing. Where we are right now is a very different place than we were a year ago. We can't talk about this coronavirus the way we talked it about a year ago. It's like when you are playing a video game and you get to the next level and all of a sudden you're dealing with an opponent that is much more difficult to play against. All of the terms have changed here. So this variant, the Delta variant, is 200 times more contagious than the original variant. So when you come in contact with this variant, it's much more dangerous. And that's true for everyone. When you have so much virus circulating, and also when you're infected with this virus, you got to remember, 1,000 times more viral copies that are being shed than from the original variant. It's just tough for everybody. And so when you have a lot of unvaccinated people around, you have a lot more virus circulating. And so as a result, everybody becomes at risk. The vaccines are great at preventing hospitalization, death, severe disease, but they don't necessarily protect you against just becoming infected with that virus. And what we don't know is how well a vaccinated person who's infected can spread to other people. But it's certainly possible. And that's what we're beginning to see. So it all hinges on how many people can we get vaccinated? How much of this virus can we just tamp down? And that's where we're going to see these models continue to change. If we don't have enough people vaccinated, this virus is going to burn through us quickly. We're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Philip, to Dr. Ramon's point, take a listen to what Alabama's Republican Governor Kay Ivey said yesterday.
What is it going to take to get people to get shots in arms?
I don't know. You tell me. Folks supposed to have common sense. But it's time to start blaming the unvaccinated folks, not the regular folks. It's the unvaccinated folks that are letting us down.
Phil, speak to the change in the messaging that we're hearing now from elected officials on getting vaccinated, including even a Republican governor blaming the unvaccinated as the problem.
Right. Well, I mean, she's obviously right. I mean, I think that one of the things to keep in mind about that Provincetown story, for example, is that the number of infections you saw among vaccinated people would have been way higher had they not been vaccinated. So even when you do have those vaccinations, that's an important bulwark. But her point is correct, that this is going on. It has been called a pandemic of the unvaccinated because they are most at risk. But a lot of Republican officials have found themselves in this difficult spot because they have spent months saying, oh, mask mandates are bad. Oh, these social distancing restrictions are bad. I'm not going to impose those. You have Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who was running to be governor of Arkansas, which is one of the hardest hit states right now, saying this morning on cable news that she wasn't going to impose any of those things. But if you're not going to do that, then you have to have a high level of vaccination or else the virus is going to burn through your state. And so a lot of these governors and a lot of these officials, I think, made this bet, hey, the vaccinations are pushing the numbers down. This pandemic is waning. I can come out strong against mask mandates, social distancing mandates. And now they're finding the Delta variant is pushing those numbers back up. And so you have someone like Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, who now has to say, hey, you need to go out and get vaccinated, because the alternative is either lots and lots and lots of people get sick and potentially die, or he has to say people need to start wearing masks again. And he doesn't want to have either of those things happen.
Philip, you say there was a lesson to be learned in how the updated White House mask advisory for fully vaccinated didn't lead to more vaccinations. From your new piece, quote, there are those who are most concerned about the virus were most eager to get vaccinated, and those individuals were more likely to be Democrats than Republicans. This is also the problem with reintroducing rules promoting mask wearing. For For President Biden, the best hope is that the new increase in cases stalls and the number of deaths it prompts is lessened by the vaccines themselves. Everything beyond that introduces a series of largely difficult choices. Do you think it's worth a shot to try mandating masks at this point?
Well, I mean, look, I'm very glad not to be in the position of leadership on this and having to say these things, right? I mean, I know that from my personal standpoint, my wife and I are both vaccinated, and we're both very conscientious because we have two little kids that can't be vaccinated, how we actually, where and when we expose ourselves to that risk. But this is exactly the point. You have two groups of people in the country. You have people who are worried about the pandemic, took these measures seriously from the outset and got vaccinated as soon as possible. And you have people who aren't worried about the virus, never have been, didn't take a lot of those precautions and aren't particularly worried about getting vaccinated. Those do tend to overlap with partisan politics to a large extent. But the problem is that even now, you're not going to get the people who weren't worried about the virus ever and who didn't take those precautions ever and who haven't been vaccinated. What now is going to convince them after 16 months that this is the moment at which they need to start taking it seriously? That's the question to which we don't have an answer.
Exactly. Philip Bump, thank you for your being with us this evening. And Dr. Anne Rimoin is staying with us.